All right, welcome to this next episode of Your Music, Your Story. Today we're talking with Brent Waterworth from the band Taken Days. How's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
Good, good. Welcome. So, just as we get started, on your website, you have your Any Minute album.
Yes.
Is that coming out any minute?
That is coming out any minute, which is about 3.5 months from now. So, January 5th is going to be the record.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
So, who all's in the band with you?
So myself, we're a trio. I play guitar and I'm one of the singers. And then we have Corey Glockner on bass and he's the other singer. We have like kind of two lead singers. And then Landon Asbury is our drummer.
Nice. How long have you guys been in a band for?
This band it started in like late 2016 with kind of a different lineup of four guys. Corey is the original member. I joined about a year into it, so late 2017. And then about 10 months after I joined in 2018, Landon became our drummer. And about a year after that, we became a trio. So the three of us have been together for 5 years, over 5 years. And then we've been a trio now for about 4.
Okay. Yeah, I was on one of the pictures on your website that there was 4, but all the rest of them had 3. So I don't know if he was a previous member or just someone that you guys knew.
You know what? A recent photo with like a recent post.
Yeah.
So that's our producer Cameron Webb.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's in the picture. So yeah, he's kind of like the 4th band member. So yeah.
I was say he only made it to 2 pictures. Apparently, he didn't last very long.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's like our 4th band member and a huge part of obviously making this album. And we worked with him on the last record too. So
nice. So are you guys going to stick a 3-piece? Are you going to go to a 4, or you're just fine with 3?
We went to 3, like I said, probably 4 years ago. We had a bass player move out of town and we had a show coming up with 10-foot pole. So we're like, okay, we still got to play it. So Corey jumped over to bass. At that time, Corey was originally like the main lead singer of the band for the first years. And I just kind of did some backup and supporting. We got some good feedback on the trio. And then we had a bunch of other shows booked. So we kind of just kept rolling with it. And then the feedback has just kind of been good. So we kind of found our footing on it. I started singing more and more, and we kind of did more of a split like Alkaline Trio or Blank is kind of, we're kind of like the same format as them. And it just kind of worked. And there aren't very many trio bands that have 2 lead singers. So there's only a handful really like in this genre. I mean, you know, you could talk about Rush see 1 lead singer, Police 1 lead singer. Like there's a lot of trios, but the 3 lead singer trios, especially in punk, is Blink, Alkaline Trio, Lawrence Arms. I can't think of another trio off the top of my head, but there's 2 singer bands like Rancid, Less Than Jake, Bad Cop, The Menzingers. There's a few, but there aren't that many bands out there that have 2 lead singers and that not only split songs down the middle, but like kind of like one singer sings this song, one singer kind of sings this song predominantly, but then we also split. And Corey and I do a lot of that, and we're always harmonizing or backing up each other. So we're both kind of singing the whole time. So that is kind of our spin on the rock and roll trio.
Hey, nothing wrong with that if it works. Yeah. So how did you come about? So like you said, when you started, you just weren't singing. You were just doing backup. Did you just have you know what? Hey, I want to start singing, or how did that come about?
At the time I joined, they were looking for a lead guitar player, and they had a guy who was briefly in the band. I came in on kind of lead guitar, and to be honest, I didn't really want to sing or sing much. I've sang and been lead singers of bands before, and I kind of I'd say I always ended up singing out of necessity because I was just kind of always the best singer there. Corey's a great singer. It wasn't a necessity by any means, but I never felt like I knew how to sing the right way. And I will say, I don't think I've become a better singer, but I think I've learned how to do it more professionally. I'm not like I'm not a formally trained singer. So now that my voice is stronger, I use better technique. I think I can be a better tool for the band. And it kind of just gave that good flavor. There was the first EP I did with the band was the second record, which was 10 More Miles. And I sang just small little parts on that, that 4-song one. And then the album, every second I sang like a verse here or a chorus here, lots of backups, lots of harmonies, lots of singing. And people really liked the two voices. There was a lot of feedback of like, oh, your guys' voices play really well on each other. So we knew that going into it. And when we wrote this record, we had a lot of things in mind, and it was very intentionally put together. And that was something we discussed, was like, okay, we're going to split singing a lot more. And then our producer was same thing. So, cause he produces Alkaline Trio. So he same kind of like push of where he's like, we need, and he would even say things like Corey might be singing a verse and he'd be like, okay, Brent, jump in the booth. You sing that verse. Okay. Give that part to him, and vice versa. Where I was going to sing a part, he's like, let's have Corey sing this part. So we sacrificed everything for the song. Whatever would make the song sound the coolest is what we would do. There's no like, oh, that's my part or anything like that. We really just wanted to make the best songs we could.
Okay. So when you write your lyrics, so do you kind of work together? You just say, hey, here's some lyrics I got. You kind of play off each other. What do you do with your lyrics?
Both of us. So me and Corey are both the primary like lyric writers and like main songwriters. Pretty much he'll write songs and I'll write songs, and we'll do rough demos ourselves. For this record, we pretty much kind of split it. I think I wrote half, he wrote half. We got in a room and then we composed everything together, and it was a long writing process of many demos, many live recordings, GoPro footage, all looped in with our producer, and meetings and discussing parts. What are we going to cut? What are we going to do? But we all, at the end of the day, look at the lyrics. Even our producer at the tail end, when we had done lyrics, everything's printed. And then when we were like ready to do it, all the melodies were there. It was more like, then we focused on imagery and things like listening to some great songwriters of all kinds of genres that have really good imagery and use creative lyric writing, even like hip hop, Sublime, classic rock, and try to think about, are there ways we can tell the story that draws more things to your imagination? Is there a way, can we use words that people don't normally hear in a song, or be more specific so that people, because if you have a good song and good melody, but then the lyrics are cool, and even just reading the lyrics is interesting, then it like brings another element to it. And we all give feedback. I mean, even a word like our drummer can't sing a note, but if he's like, I don't like that word, we just kind of go, okay, well, let's try other words. Well, if we change that word, maybe we change this line. And it's really the 4 people all collaborating, and we're open to it. Like if I write a word and everyone's like, we don't like, and that happened a lot, like, not feeling that word, or that's predictable. I feel like I've heard that someplace, and it's like, cool, let's shit can that and find something new then.
Step 1, I gotta lose. Step 2, get rid of you. Step 3, skip straight to 4. You've got 5 more minutes till you're out the door. So many hours and you're just too late. Time to quit, time to rearrange. Nothing hurts quite like it did, but nothing really matters when you've got no dreams. Step back and walk away. Let the fight another day. Learn to progress and survive, 'cause nothing really matters when you're not alive.
Well, do you have any opinions on AI? I know a lot of people are using AI for all kinds of weird stuff. Do you have any opinion on that?
I don't hate it. We didn't use AI. I will admit that my girlfriend showed me an app called Rhymer's Block. So I have a thesaurus and I have Rhymer's Block. So the thesaurus I'll use for like, okay, I want to say dangerous. I'll look up in a thesaurus and see what are all these different words for dangerous. So if I can't think of like a different way to describe something, I will use a thesaurus. If I had a paper one, I would flip to it, but the phone's easier. So that's not really AI. But Rhymer's Block almost is, because you could type in like angry, and then it gives you all these things that rhyme with angry that you would never, ever know. So if you're writing a verse or a part, and angry is kind of like the hook rhyme, and you want the next part to rhyme with angry again, it'll list all these things, and then you decide, is any of that something that I can fit into my story? And I did use quite a bit of that to try to be more original, like in kind of a cheating way, because it's hard. Like writing lyrics is hard. I have an easier time writing songs than lyrics and melodies, but then it's hard. Some words you just, and I guess that's another thing with lyrics. If there's like a melody we love, but then this one word just lands weird, and you're like, God, I like the song. But that word just, you can't pronounce it like that. So if you want to do, instead of it's going to be me, it's going to be May. And we're like, we're over the May. Like we gotta, you know what I mean? Like, let's get rid of the May. So you just got to rewrite that part. And I think younger versions of myself would have been a lot more stuck to, no, this is the way it is. And, fuck that. But I think all of us now we've been around the block a bunch of times. We've played in a lot of bands. So we're like, no, let's just like make the best songs we can. Who gives a shit? Like, if we'll change something on the 2-yard line, it doesn't matter. Like if better is better. So if anyone has a better idea, our circle's small. It's not like it's just the 4 of us looking at this stuff. So if someone in that circle has a better idea or a different idea, we're going to try it every time.
No, all right. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't consider that cheating at all. Like you talk about your thesaurus. I can't even say the word. You're replacing words. That's what you do when you write poems. It sounds like the other one is it's the same sort. So it's not, all right, here's your lyrics. And you're like, sweet, sure, I got a song. It's more of a help to, okay, here's some different words. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes it more creative, because you can write like the feelings or the vibe of the song and kind of tell a story. But then sometimes you're like, this looks like something I've done before, or, God, this feels like another band, like this is like, in a way, we're influenced by things we see, right, in media, or you hear songs and then those words stick in your head. It's hard to not regurgitate those kind of words and melodies into a song. So you want to like not use that on your song. So let's change it.
True. Oh, so true. Plus it makes it interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Trying to make like a good example that we used is like, I'm a huge NoFX person. And Fat Mike has very good lyrics, and even a lot of his songs, you could just read the lyrics and he's telling some cool story and you almost feel like, oh shit, I was there. It's like, and it's worth, even if some of those songs, the newer songs, some of them aren't even that good in my opinion for even a super fan, but the imagery in his writing is so good that you're like, I'm going to listen to that again just so I can get to know the story he's telling better. And it's funny, but it's serious and it's heartfelt. Like he does a really good way of, you can almost picture what he's telling you. Like you can see it playing out in your head. And then there's also a punk song. So it's trying to be a little bit more like that instead of just generic pop punk, I'm sad, my heart's broken lyrics. We're trying to go a little deeper and just better. Just try to connect with people, let them picture something in their mind when they're listening to it.
Nice. I definitely, I'll say politically, I almost am all diametrically opposed to Fat Mike, but you got to listen to his songs and be like, I get it. That's catchy. Lyrics are good. The music's good.
Yeah, he's a genius in his own way, for sure.
Yeah. So do you have any go-to? So you talked about that you would listen to other artists to just get inspiration, and do you have any particular ones that you go to more often than not, or is just, hey, let's just go to anybody?
I try not to, if I'm writing music, I try not to sound like anything in particular. So at this point, with Taken Days now has, 30 songs, or I guess this album's not out, but we have like over 30 songs released or something. So we know what we sound like. So now we're just writing Taken Days songs, and we've already got 5 or 7 demos for another record. So we're staying hot on the ball with it. So I'm sure Corey probably does the same thing. I just try to write a good Taken Days song. So it's not like I'm listening to the Flatliners going, oh man, I need a song that's like this, and I'm going to go home and figure it out, or Lagwagon. Like I'm not trying to do that. I think there's a little part of all those bands that we are influenced by, but not, it's more of an indirect influence. It's more that because I listen to a lot of this music and I love this music and I've grown up in punk rock, I feel like I'm just going to play what comes out of me as a Taken Days song. And I've played in other bands and I've wrote for other bands. And if that's the case, I'm going to write a song for them, so it's not like a Brent song by any stretch. It's, if I'm making something for Taken Days, it's a Taken Days song from the beginning.
Do you have any certain way or style of writing, or just pick up a guitar, start strumming chords and see what happens? Or do you have a specific pattern you like to do?
I try different things, but like a guitar for sure. And I'll either strum chords to find something I like, or like a lead riff. And sometimes the lead riff will later become a vocal melody, but I'll kind of find something that's in my head. And as I lay it down, I record video on my phone so I can see myself playing it again, so I can remember what I was doing.
Good one.
But sometimes too, I've written songs where I'm just humming something. Like I'll be laying in bed at night and I'll have to get up and go play it on the guitar and record it. Or I'll be driving. I've pulled over before and just sang like blah, 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 blahs into my phone. Or I get an idea for a lyrical idea and I've written lyrics, typed them into my phone, and then sang it, and then found a cool way to sing it, record myself singing it on a vocal thing, and go home and play guitar to that. So all kinds of kind of different ways. And then it's kind of like, if it passes the cool test for me and I think it's good, then I'm going to keep working with it. And then I go pretty quick, and I'll throw down a full-blown demo with a few guitar tracks and vocals pretty quick, just to have it. And then I'll even send it to the guys, and they'll be like, yeah, be like, cool, I'll keep working on it. And they do the same thing. Like Corey will send us just a verse with an intro part and be like, what do you think? And we're like, keep going with that, So, and we're not afraid to be like, that's not my favorite. And then sometimes, hey, can we as a group work that out? If something's maybe not the best, and sometimes intentionally we'll bring an unfinished idea. Like if I just have I'm like, hey, I have a verse or I have a cool riff, I'm just going to play it and you guys play to it and find where it goes. And so we've created songs that way too, where we'll intentionally not fully write something, but partially write it so that we can kind of just see what happens in the room.
Have you ever had, for an instance, where somebody came to the table with something, just a part of the song, wasn't really too sure about it, but working together, it became something that was awesome, or it turned out more when at first it was like, I'm not too sure about this?
I think a lot of them are like that, to be honest. A lot of them kind of, very seldomly do any of us bring or do Corey or I bring a completed song, and then that's just the song. I can't think of an instance where that ever happened. We always all put our stamp on it, so they always change. And in my opinion, they change for the better, because otherwise we would talk about it and be like, well, we're changing, but if it's not better, then we'll go back. So almost everything we've ever worked on like morphs and changes. And then it changes all the way through and through. And then when you have pre-production with like a world-class famous producer like a Cameron Webb, then it crunches and crunches and crunches, because what his job to do is to tell you suck. Is you spend all this time doing stuff. You record the song 4 times. We think it's, we're prepping our Grammy speech. We send it to him and he's like, this is not ready.
This is horse crap.
Yeah. And you're like, well, be more specific. And he's like, it's not exciting. It's boring. And you're like, oh, thanks. And he goes, I kind of like this part's okay. This could be cool, but the chorus sucks. And then he's like, the lyrics are terrible. We're like, well, we didn't really write lyrics. He's like, well, then let me know when you did. So he's nice about it, but he's trying to push you. So I think even deep down, if he likes it, he's going to tell us he doesn't, so that we try harder.
So he can get more out of you?
Exactly. Because that's what a good producer does, is he knows how far he can push you. And I think one of the reasons we work really well together is because we want to be pushed. and he likes that we listen. And he doesn't write the songs. He just makes us go rework parts, you know. So it's a good partnership that way.
So it's a positive. I don't know what to say. It's not like destructive criticism where you're like, I quit, forget it.
No. Well, and then also, to be real, like if that is what happened, then we probably shouldn't be a band, you know, or we're the wrong people together. And I think there's a lot of really talented people out there that can't be in a band for a reason like that, you know, because they get in a room and they're like, check out this groovy bass line, and everyone's like, nah, not that groovy, and they're like, fuck you, I'm out of here. And it's like, okay, well, that's the wrong guy then, you know, like if he can't you know. So in my opinion,
for sure. So what kind of guitar do you play? So I was trying to look at it. I can't read it. I don't think I can read it.
I play Bolliger guitars. So a Bolliger is there's a couple of Ballaguer. It's a boutique guitar brand out of Pennsylvania. I got into them because Bo from Seosin is with them, and then a bunch of guys, a lot of metal dudes. But I started playing their guitars, and then actually ran into them at NAMM like many years ago, and then they offered me like an endorsement. So now like I've gotten some guitars through them, and I'm on their artist roster. So I think they feel and play incredible, and that's not just because I'm like a part of it, and they're just cool people, but the guitars are freaking super cool, and I feel like people ask me about them all. I should carry some to sell at every show because people are always asking me about them. But yeah, they're cool, and they play. I mean, I used to be a Gibson person, but like I sold all my Gibsons. I don't even want them. Like, they don't feel nearly as good to me as these.
That's all. I mean, is it the sound, the action, just how they fit, how they sit, everything?
Fit, sit, action, the sound. I like. I've got a few different pickup setups on them. One is I've got active pickups like with the battery. Those are a little hot, so you got to back the gain off and stuff. But Taken Days doesn't have like crazy hot gain, so I think it works for us. That guitar is a little tougher on a small stage when I'm close to the amp. But even now, I'm using like a Bad Cat combo with just 112. So I don't need like the 412s anymore, like in the 90s and stuff. So feedback's not too bad, but I just think it just sounds something about those. I have 4 of them, and they're all a little different. And something about my current pedal setup with that Bad Cat amp that I got from Bad Cat. And when I got that amp from them, I brought guitars and pedals to Bad Cat and sat there with those guys, and they kind of built that guitar or the amp and everything around the sound that we were going for. Which the first record and second record, a lot of the tones I used a Bogner and a Soldano for a lot of it, and some like Mesa Boogie. And there's some blends of guitars in there, but and some Marshall, some 800 in there. But I feel like the Bad Cat and then they gave me like this double drive pedal thing. So something about live, on a record, there's like sometimes 6 or 7 guitars playing on that track, and live there's just me, and I'm trying to do it and sing at the same time. So you got to kind of have like a thick, cool live sound that feels like it's doing the song justice. But yeah, guitar tone's hard. It's tough.
Oh, for sure. So
there's a lot to it.
Your 4 different guitars, are they just the pickups or what are different, or just how they're set up different, or what's the differences?
3 of them are the same model, like body. One of them is a slightly different. They all have slightly different pickups. I'm actually looking at 2 of them right now. Slightly different pickups, and then just like aesthetically, they have aesthetic differences. And yeah, there's like one of them's got like a Farrell humbucker. One of them's got another name. I'm not the greatest gear guy in the world. I kind of like play what I have type thing. I just kind of go with what works. So I have a few different amps, and I've got these 4 guitars, and I just kind of rotate them. But like, I don't think I'm smart enough to like know what's what. I just know that when I pick up a guitar and I have my pedal board, I will like live on that, because we'll play shows and I'll borrow people's equipment all the time, use their amp or whatever. So nice. in a quick 2-3 minutes, I can find a good enough tone to kind of be happy with it. So, but I kind of tweak knobs every time because even just the room. And then I try to listen to the cabinet, and because monitors suck. So it's like monitors can sound thin and twangy and weird depending on the stage. So I always go to the cabinet and try to hear like, okay, how's this thing feeling right now? It's like, okay, I like that. And then if it doesn't feel right, I know a couple things I can do to make it feel good. And then the monitors are what they are.
Nice. Yeah, I hear you about the gear stuff. Like I hear my guitars back there and I just think, oh, what you got in there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pickups? They make noises.
Exactly. Yeah, it's 6 strings and a neck and makes noise. I mean, I can play them, I think, better than I could like. I don't think I understand all the equipment too well. And there's a lot of some people are total gearheads and collect all this stuff. And because people will ask me questions about gear and I kind of like try to be cool and follow along a little bit. I'm like, yeah, cool. Right on. So that's a guitar, huh? You know, like, so I don't know a lot about this stuff. And it's a tough hobby. It's like collecting, you know, race cars. It's like shit's expensive and it takes up a lot of space. Like what are you going to do with all this stuff? And I mean, I kind of just have what I need. Like I need 4 guitars. I need a handful of amps. That's about it, you know, and then cycle stuff through. I sold one of my guitars a while back to a dude, super cool guy who's in a cool band, and got another one, you know, just to kind of cycle through and try something a little different. So
nice. So you're playing Bad Cats now? I know in some of the pictures you had oranges. Do you still have your oranges, or you just play Bad Cat specifically?
I still have that orange, but for taking days, I prefer a Bad Cat. Right now, I have an Eddie Van Halen 5150 that's cool. I have an orange rock reverb that sounds pretty cool, but I think Taken Days sounds the best with this Bad Cat. I don't like to lug it everywhere because it's kind of fragile. It's a combo, but it's tubed. So, but then like it depends too, because sometimes there's shows where they're like, oh, there's a cabinet and we want you to use the cabinet. Well, then I'll bring my orange head or something for that. And then also if I'm going to backline somebody else, the Bad Cat's a little specific. And if they don't have the right pedal board, like it by itself doesn't really do a punk rock tone. If, you know, we play with a lot of punk rock bands and my pedal board can make it sound like that, but it by itself doesn't have that like Mesa Boogie or Marshall 800 tone in it or rock reverb tone. So if I'm going to let other people play, I'll bring the 5150 or the rock reverb usually.
That way you're not sharing that one. They've got something different that
it's something that I think works more for punk rock, because Bad Cat, that's kind of like, not that you can't use a Bad Cat for punk, but you kind of need my pedal board to make it sound the way I do, if that makes sense.
In my head and my thoughts are running.
So what do you have on your pedal board?
On the board right now, I mean, the main thing for the main tone is I have a Bad Cat double drive pedal. So I'll set the amp to what I want it to be, and then there's like one stage of gain, and then a second. So I kind of have 3 tones. But if I'm playing heavier punk parts, I'm on the triple gain. But once I unplug that thing and walk away from it, it's not there. And then I use like digital delay, phaser, tremolos. I've got a chorus pedal right now that I use a lot on the new record that I like that sound. I said phaser. I've got a flanger. And I've got like, I think besides that, I just have a noise gate and a tuner. So it's not like I try not to river dance too hard, but you know what I mean?
Good one.
The whole, but certain places where like certain parts of our songs, the tremolo or the digital delay is cool, but really it's about that drive. And then, so if people have an overdrive or a distortion pedal with the Bad Cat amp, well, then you have to back the gain way, way down. Otherwise it's just going to freaking feedback. So it's like, you have to know how to use it. And if you just hand it to some guy who's like, I'm punk as shit, then you're like, cool, man, fuck. I'm going to have to guitar tech him. You know what I mean? I'll have to show him how to do it. So
don't blow my stuff, son.
Total. Well, that's the other thing is this amp is like this big. So you'll bring that and people will be like, you know, you're playing tonight, right? And I'm like, yeah, fucking relax. I mean, you could play the Honda Center with that thing and have it turn to 3. It's so freaking powerful. So I don't think I've ever even turned it to 5. Like it kicks so much ass. And people are, these huge metal bands now, they don't even have cabinets. Everyone's like in-ears. And even like I watched Thrice play a couple times this summer, and they have small little combos, you know, for a band with their sound. So a lot of people are getting away from these huge amps. There's no reason to break your back and lug all that crap around unless you're going to play like a floor show. And so that's another thing. If you're playing a floor show, I actually have another 10 cabinet that I'll run a speaker and put them on both sides since we're a trio. So if we're not miking everything, so then my guitar will be on both sides.
So you kind of have a little stereo setup somewhat.
Exactly. So I do the stereo setup. I think one of the last times we played in a barbershop in Corona. And I
Union Barbershop?
Union Barbershop, exactly. And I hadn't been there yet. And I'm like, it's probably not gonna mic it. And I was right. The sound was cool. It was good, but I think it helped that I brought that. The 2 amps. Or 2, it's just another cabinet.
Yeah. That way one of the old bands I used to play in, their drummer couldn't make it, so I went to fill in and we played there.
Oh, cool.
It was just loud.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just loud.
Well, was there the sound wall thing for the drum?
Nope.
No. So they have a sound, one of those clear sound things now for the drummer. So I think that's to limit it. But our drummer did say that he couldn't hear us very well, or at all, really. And then he was saying that our vocals were echoing off the room because it's a tall ceiling. So he had to like mentally block out the vocals and just. But you know, that's what a good drummer does. Is sound. You can't always control the sound, so he needs to just play like we're not there, and we'll just play to him, and then just block it out. You know,
that's good. So, nothing wrong with that.
So yeah.
Huh. So one of your videos that you had, let me see if I can find it. You had it was the one where you guys were where you started off in the studio, and then you played a little rinky-dink song.
Yes,
and they didn't like it.
Yeah.
So at the end of that video, you guys played it again. I mean, was that just hey, this is funny, let's throw this in here real quick?
You know what? We recorded that song in GarageBand. It only is 20 seconds. Is it My Burrito? Something like My Burrito. It's something about My Burrito. It was like just we kind of just like in 10 minutes we're like, shit, what can we do just like really stupid? And it's actually kind of catchy, and it's just kind of, I mean, literally that was like 10 minutes of effort in Pro Tools with digital drums, and we just tracked it and gave it to our director, Mario. It's funny. So that whole crew who filmed that video, we're spending the next 3 days filming a new video together. All this, like the same characters and everything. So we're doing another video with them this weekend, actually. And it'll be more than 3 days of shooting, but we're going to get the first few days shot. So, but Mario is super creative guy, and he just put that in the credits at the end, like just fucking around. So because he kind of made that one like a movie, so there was like the credits, so he just played the My Burrito song again at the end. So that was funny. I mean, I didn't know he was going to do that, but I thought it was cool.
I got a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, I know. And we laughed. We're like, what if people like that song? And, well,
then you guys got to play it.
Then we have to write it. So, but like people have brought it up before. You're not the only one. So we're like, shit, maybe we do need a My Burrito song for real.
For sure. For sure.
So I hear you gentlemen have a song you want to play for me. Let it rip. Whoa, stop right there, stop. That's not music, that's an absolute travesty. These ladies told me to come in here and that you'd have something special for me to listen to. And all I hear is pure shit. Get out of my studio, damn it! Get out!
No. Wait, hold on. Just give us another chance here.
Yeah, man, come on. Let us play another song. We've got tons of great songs.
All right. You get 30 more seconds, but that's it. And I'm not doing it because of you guys. I'm doing it because of them. Let's see what you got, even though I know it's a waste of all of our time.
Guys, we only have one song.
Remember that riff I showed you? You remember the riff. Okay, look, I'm going to play a riff, and when I do, come in on the drums, you lock in on the bass, we'll start singing something. I mean, how hard could it be?
Our hearts create catatonic on the fights we initiate. Overwhelmed, tell me how should I
that's awesome. So how many? So you guys are shooting another video. Is this going to be for one of the songs off the new album, or is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be the 4th single. So we released "Least of All You" last week, and then in October there'll be single number 2. November will be single number 3, and December will be single number 4. This music video is for single number 4, and then the album comes out in January. So, and we might do some more music videos. We made lyric videos for all these singles already. But I don't know. I'm sure we'll film more. Part of me wants to wait till the record comes out and see what songs rise, what people really, really love. Because singles are hard to pick. I don't know what songs are the singles. I don't know what songs people are going to like. It's hard to say. So between the 2 record labels we work with and all of us, we all kind of talked. And like, single doesn't necessarily mean it's our favorite song. It's single means one that we think sounds like a single. And a lot of times, for power pop music, sometimes singles are, the ones that are like a nursery rhyme or almost have like the chorus is almost annoying. It's so catchy. So sometimes those are the singles when it's like, if you ask me, is that my favorite song? Maybe not. I like this one. And then, that one's, it is what it is. So we'll see about the other videos, but I think we'll do more. I'm pretty sure.
Nice. So I'm just looking over here at it's got the Taken Days website, and there's a picture. It looks like you guys played a show with Undercover Monsters, because they just have the amp with the teeth on it.
Did we? I know who they are. I don't remember if we did or didn't. I don't think we did. Is it? So
you guys are playing, and he's got his little amp back here with the teeth.
Oh no, you know who that is? That's they're all a part of the same crew. That's the Maxis.
Oh, the Maxis.
Maxis. Yeah. Undercover Monsters, I know who they are. Some of our friends have played with them. I've seen them on flyers before, but I don't think we've played a show together. I'm pretty sure we haven't. So yeah, maybe, but I think those guys are all like Riverside guys, right? So maybe it's the same dudes.
Yeah,
probably.
So Dave Alarcon, he's the guitar player, singer in Undercover Monsters, but he's the bass player, singer in Maxis.
There you go. Okay.
So
And sometimes Logan plays bass from Odd Robot, right?
Yep.
In the Maxis. Yep. So we've played with them when he's playing too. And Nate plays the keyboards in the Maxis sometimes. And Andy, all the Odd Robot guys have like all been in the Maxis at one point.
Oh yeah. All the homies.
Exactly.
It's like intermingling and whatnot.
For sure. Yeah. Everyone is in everyone's band.
Hey, sometimes you got to make it work.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, it's fill-ins or, I do fill-in stuff, and we've had to use fill-ins before, and I mean, it happens. So it's part of the game.
It's life. So you mentioned that you work with 2 labels.
Yes. So
how does that sounds weird? How does that work?
It's actually super common this day and age. A lot of people are doing that. Taken Days, our last record, we were on Wiretap Records, which we love Wiretap Records, love all the bands, and the alumni and Rob and everybody. So grateful to be a part of that. We were intending on doing Wiretap again, and in fact, we were also shopping it to some other international labels. So we were going to try to have a UK label, a Europe label. We were talking to a label in Japan. We were trying to do a bunch of smaller labels to kind of get some distribution that way. And then we ended up getting an offer from a brand new record label called 55 Rose Records. We're kind of technically their first band that anyone knows about. And they partnered us with SBAM Records in Austria. So basically 55 Rose kind of acts like they're a blanket of companies it's Dorothy House Media. So that's like our media and marketing and web design. They're a part of Imperium Rags Clothing. So they're making all of our merch, and they're going to do customer service fulfillment for our merch store that we're getting built. And they're going to do all of our touring merch and everything. And then 55 Rose manages the money side of it. And they manage the streaming and the royalties and the vinyl production, and they help with marketing as well. And then SBAM, we're signed to SBAM Records for, they handle all digital distribution as well as vinyl throughout the rest of the world and US. And we're a part of their record label family. They're like kind of the face of it a little bit. If they're like the Fat Records for us, if you will. And then they have a pretty outstanding roster that seems to keep getting crazier and crazier and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like around the time we came on, they brought on the Mad Caddies and Bowling for Soup and all these other like legacy legendary bands. And we're like, oh, this is fucking cool. So
things are getting real.
Yeah, shit's getting real. And I mean, 55 Rows is just wonderful, great people. They're like family to us, and we're so grateful to be a part of them. And everybody, SBAM, Stefan, and everybody is super welcoming, and we're pumped to have like partners on the other side of the world who are pushing our band and working with us. And with this whole release cycle, I feel like I talk to both labels every single day. So it's like we got so much going right now with all the promotion and the press and all the things that we're doing. It's like, it's definitely a part-time job for this release cycle, which is amazing for us. It feels super special. We're used to just the three of us caring, and having like a lot of people care and a lot of people working on us on the regular is a new, really cool, special thing. So,
good for you guys. That's awesome.
So yeah, we're stoked. So we're psyched. Yeah, I talked to Austria this morning. It's like I start every day because they haven't gone to bed yet when I wake up. So those are like we kind of communicate for those first few morning hours, or I'll send them an emails. I'm going to sleep because they're about to get up, and then they'll see it. And then when I wake up, there's the answer, and then we'll go back and forth 3 times. So that's kind of like the daily thing. Because I mean, they're 9 hours off from here, so it's a big gap.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So when you guys, well, I guess first question, okay, when this album comes out, are you guys going to do a tour? And if so, where would you go? I was gonna say, if so, where would it be? Just this side of the U.S. or small or large?
The easiest answer to that question is yes. The first part of it, we actually had a tour planned with some friends of ours that was going to be from here up through Pacific Northwest. We're going to reschedule and push that back. We were going to leave a few days after, so that is no longer at least going to happen in that fashion. And at this point in time, there are like 4 other theoretical tours with other bands where we don't have exact date ranges and exact destinations. For a band like ours, touring's hard because obviously we're older, we have families, careers. I wish we could just get in the van and go slug out 30 shows in a row. But we're more like trying to make it make sense, get together with another band or a headliner and put something really nice together. So we definitely intend on touring, and we're right now have a couple of Europe options and maybe a Canada option. So we want to get out of town and play more often. But it's hard. Booking is a tricky thing. And we have Covert Booking has rostered us and is helping us doing some stuff for the US. And we do have a booking partner in Europe who's super cool. So we're trying our hardest we're a baby band, we're just trying to do it. We don't have this huge following. We can't guarantee that a ton of people are going to come to all these shows. So it's harder. You kind of need someone to bring you to these places. Cause if we knew for sure people wanted to see us, like a bunch of people, we'd be there in a heartbeat. But that's a tough thing to do. So I think this new music will help us grow, and more people will want to see us, and we'll be able to tour further and for longer.
Okay. Well, good for you guys. So you talked about having the agency work with you with tours. For the most part, you're just doing all the booking. You guys are doing it all, or do they do a part of it, or what is that situation like?
That relationship's super, super new. Well, I've known them for a long time as friends, and I've played lots of shows and tours in other projects with those same groups of people. The booking is us. Everything's been DIY up to this point, but sometimes you'll get help, like an agent or a talent buyer or somebody or a band will reach out and help you. Like, hey, we'll throw you on this tour. Hey, we can get you on the show. We can get you into this festival, something like that. Todd, don't eat that. My dog. And now with Covert, the relationship is, and really what we don't need them to book a Taken Days tour. We need them to help us get on other cool tours. And if a band, like, I don't know, pick a band out of the stars and they need an opener for 5 of those dates, we hope that they can help us beat that band. Or there's a cool festival someplace and we hope that they can help get us on that cool festival. So, and they can probably, because when you work with an agency like that, they know about the shows that aren't announced yet. So they talk to those talent buyers before the festival is confirmed, and they talk to the management and the tour agents for these bigger bands before any of us in the general public even know that there's a whisper of this. So that's the way that you get ahead of the game. And then they all talk to each other in the industry and go, okay, we need some support for these days, this band, this is the tour cycle. Then we would hear about it and go, hey, so-and-so's touring. Can you guys do a leg of this? And that's kind of the vision, is like, that's the opportunities we want, is like, oh yeah, so-and-so's touring and we could do these 3 East Coast dates. We can do it. Their management's interested. Everyone's groovy and happy with it. So that's kind of the vision. I'm exaggerating what I hope the truth is to become. So that's kind of the way it is. And stuff like that has worked out for us and for bands that I've been in before. But that's kind of how that works. Like if you really get something super juicy, you're confirmed, locked, and loaded before anyone even knows it's a thing.
Okay, so you're not like last minute for the most part. It's before you know.
So with them, yeah. In other cases, sometimes you'll see like something drop, and then if you think that you know how to get to those people, like who's behind that, and they know you, and you can get to them, and then everyone is like into that idea, then you can slide onto things. Because a lot of times bands will announce a show or a tour, and they don't have support yet. So I'll see stuff like that. And that's kind of how we've gotten by the last 5 years, is seeing stuff like that in the greater SoCal Southwest area and being like, oh, that's a cool show. You know what? I know who's behind that. Let me reach out to him. And then you can kind of see if it's going to be something that can work out or not.
So I've never been on anything to do with that, with any band I played in. So just out of curiosity, is this a matter of kind of like with any relationship that if you get along, you make a good impression, you're more likely to get more shows later? Or are they just after, okay, look, you got to draw X amount of people. We don't care if you're douchebags or if we like you.
More the first one. So
okay.
music is very much into fostering good relationships, being good people. You definitely got to be a good hang. People have to want to be around you. It helps a lot when your band's good. If you write good songs and you melt faces when you're playing, then it's like, it's kind of locked and loaded. And even if you don't have some huge draw and some huge following yet, but if you're some cool people and you're playing some cool music and you can kind of meet the right people, and it's a fine line between, you don't want to like meet the right people and then drool and fangirl all over them. You kind of more want to act like you're supposed to be there. Like we're all on the same plane. We're all in the same ball field is kind of a better way of thinking it. And then next thing you know, when it comes around full circle and they're like, hey, do you guys want to do this gig? And then we're like, yes, but you don't even say that. You're like, oh, cool. Yeah, I think we're available. Let me double check. And then you're like, don't reply too quick. Don't reply too quick. Don't reply too quick. Okay. Yeah, we're in, like that kind of thing.
Play it cool, dude. Play it cool.
Yeah, play it cool. And back like, oh yeah. Oh, what is this, a Saturday night? Oh, great. Yeah, I can clear
let
my
me
schedule.
Check my schedule.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, it comes down to just being persistent. People will ask me like, I want to, and I'll tell them this as simple as this. Look, find a flyer for a show that you want to play. Like if it's a festival or if it's a tour or if it's just a cool show and there's a venue, take a good long look at that flyer and ask yourself, how did this happen? Why is it here? Who's the talent buyer? Who's the promoter? Who are these bands? Who manages these bands or books these bands? Who got all these people together on this day and made this thing happen? And if you're like, I want to do something like that, if you don't know any of those people, my first bit of advice is go to that event that you would like to be a part of one day and just be cool and meet some people, and shake some hands and introduce yourself as who you are. And, hey, I do this project. I do that project. This is a cool show. This is great. Oh, that guy over there booked the whole thing. You don't say. What's his name? Neat. I'm going to go say hi to that guy. And then they go, oh, I've heard of you. And you're like, cool. Well, now we've met. This is rad. And then, you take the Instagram and kind of keep that relationship. And, you don't beg them. You're like, hey, bro, can I be on the next gig? Blah, blah, blah. You don't do that, but you just kind of play it cool. And then they think of you on the next time it comes around. Like, oh yeah, those guys were cool. Like, that's a cool band. I didn't think of them, but here you go. And you kind of do that enough times. And that's what I would encourage people to do. And all of a sudden it'll start coming around. But you can't sit on your couch and sit on your phone and think that one day they're just going to come track you down and you're going to be on those cool flyers. Like, you got to go out to those things and shake hands with people,
Oh, for sure. For sure. So what do you guys have coming up? So you have a video coming up in a little bit or at some point. Do you have more shows got scheduled?
We are playing in Costa Mesa with Diesel Boy and Fourth in Line in the Gringos in October, the 15th. We potentially have some other dates in October that aren't announced and aren't confirmed. We're doing another show in October with our friends Empired in Downey. I think that place is the Starlight or Stardust. That's the Friday before Halloween, the 27th. I don't think that's like full-blown announced, but it's not some crazy secret. I just don't know if anyone's posted it yet. And we're going to go to Arizona in November with the Queers. That's during the week. So on, I think the 7th, November 7th. So those are the three like announced-ish. I know the Queer shows have been announced. So that's in Tempe. So those are the three that are announced. And then we've got some other surprises and stuff we're working on, but really just trying to focus on next year, talking to several different bands. And, you know, we're trying to dream big. We're trying to dream all the way to the other side of the world and see what we can put together.
Nice. Well, hey, you'll never hit the moon if you don't shoot.
I always say, shoot for the stars so you can hit the moon, you know?
Nothing wrong with that. The show with the Queers, is this just you're going to drive out there in one show, or are you going to play a few shows with them out there, or is it just the one?
We're just going to do the one. We've played that venue a few times, and we've always done pretty well out there. There's some other Arizona stuff we're trying to do, but as far as like spreading out, like we need to start thinking of things like Ventura or Fresno or Vegas or Arizona. We need to start thinking of that as like one-off territory. So our one-off territory used to be like Orange County, LA, San Diego, but we're trying to like dream a little bigger. Like, okay, leave in the afternoon, fly out there, do the gig, come back the next day. It's worth it for a show like that. We probably wouldn't go out there at this point to play like some dive bar midweek. But for a show like that with the Queers that we know it's going to fill up, and we know that we have a following in that area, and we played out there almost exactly a year ago with Agent Orange and the Venomous Pinks, same venue. So, and we wanted to come back sooner than that, but we just haven't. So it's like this came up, and it's just going to be the one because the Queers are going to Hawaii with my friend's band Sidekick, who I fill in for. They asked me to go to Hawaii, but I just can't clear that time from work. And then they're going to come back, play Punk in the Park. And then the Queers are on their way to go do some Dead Kennedy shows. And they wanted to gap something. And we have the same booking agent. So he asked me about it. He was like, do you want to do this show? Probably Arizona. Asked the guys, and we're like, boom. So again, like that was us and the Queers before it ever even happened. And that's how, so when people ask, how do I get on a cool show like that? I'm like, I don't know. Do this for 25 years like I have.
Develop a lot of long relationships.
Yeah, you gotta grind for decades and kind of like earn your stripes with the people and but then deserve it. Like, you know, you gotta learn your instrument, write some really good songs, play a lot of shows, and then be cool and meet some cool people, and you'll do some cool shit.
Oh, thanks. Last question for you, just out of curiosity, is it with, like you'd mentioned, you know, trying to work and get off work and do shows, do you guys have is that a difficult thing to do with your guys' band and full-time jobs?
Oh, yeah. It is. I'm a firefighter, so that's a demanding career in and of itself. Our drummer is a real estate agent, and then our bass player is like works in the banking system and customer service for like bank and finance. So at least one of us, or at least those two guys, can kind of work remote. I can't obviously like firefight remotely, but for the last several years, I've been on the admin side of it. So I can kind of like, you just kind of work it in, you know? So it's manageable, it's doable, but can we go on tour for 4 to 6 weeks? Probably not. But a lot of people don't do that anymore. And bands that do, I love it, respect it, wish I could do it. If I was 20 years younger, I'd be in the van. But just at this point, we can't. We'd rather get out there and knock out like 3 to 6 really cool shows anywhere in the world and then come home, be gone for 10 days at a max. You know, we're thinking more 3 to 10 days as our window of go out, hit it hard, come back. Like I just did a Europe tour playing bass for Sidekick, and we played 8 shows in a row, and I was gone for like 12 days. So that's pretty realistic. And we toured with Sloppy Seconds. And along the way, we played with like TSOL, and we did a few dates with Teenage Bottle Rocket, and we played some really, really badass shows. We played huge festivals in Europe with all kinds of huge bands, Frank Turner and Authority Zero, and cool shit. So it's fun, and you can go hit that and then make it back like nothing ever freaking happened. And all your friends at work are like, "Oh, where were you last week?" You're like, "Nowhere."
Mind your business.
Just cruising.
Not here, son.
Yeah, not here. Yeah, just be dreaming, just trying to live my dreams,
Well, that's awesome. Well, Brent, thanks for joining me. Thanks for telling me about your, musical career and all the fun stuff you guys are doing. Best of luck with your album coming out and all the fun things you guys are up to.
Right on, Jeff. Thank you for showing interest and supporting us, man. That means a lot.
Yeah. Well, good luck and have yourself an enjoyable evening.
Cool. Right on, brother. Take care.
Thanks.